Welcome to my latest case, Ghost Dogs of Moon Lake. To start playing, choose either Junior or Senior Detective. If you're new to adventure games or need some help, choose Tutorial. Dear Ned, remember Sally McDonald, the woman who took those photos that Dad has up in his office? Well, she just bought a house in Moon Lake, Pennsylvania. A gangster named Mickey Malone built it back in the 20s as his country getaway. We're talking major fixer-upper. Anyway, last night Sally called and she said she desperately needed my detective skills. She refused to say why over the phone. Naturally, I said I'd drive to Moon Lake immediately, but weird things started happening the moment I pulled up. First, this big tree fell down behind my car and has me totally blocked in. And then I discovered that Sally's gone. She left a note that suggested something terrible happens here at night. She's supposed to call me from her car. So here I sit, writing to you while I wait for the phone to ring. It's nighttime, and although part of me is dying to know what frightened Sally away, another part of me is starting to feel a little uneasy. I'll let you know what happens. Ever yours, Nancy. Hello?
Nancy, hi, it's Sally. We have to talk fast because I'm in my car and my cell phone's running low, so we might get cut off. But did you see my note?
Yes, are you all right?
No, I feel awful bailing on you like that. You must think I'm such a flake.
I'm just worried about you. What's wrong?
I couldn't stand the thought of spending another night there. I knew you were on your way, but it didn't help. I just got too scared.
You make it sound like the house is haunted or something.
Not the house, the woods. Just wait until it gets dark. Then you'll see. What am I saying? Nancy, you shouldn't be there by yourself either. Why don't you just go get in your car and go home? Or drive to Philadelphia. My aunt's got plenty of room.
No way. You've got me so curious, I wouldn't leave even if I could.
What do you mean?
A tree fell down behind my car just as I was driving up to the house. I'm blocked in.
Oh, the dead maple beside the driveway. Oh, they told me it was in danger of falling over when I had the place inspected. I just never got around to doing anything about it. Listen, call M's Emporium. That's a store on the lake. Emily knows everybody. She'll know who to call if she decides to answer her phone.
It's late. Won't the store be closed?
Where's my brain? Okay, look. I just bought a little outboard motorboat. I haven't used it yet, but the guy who put it in for me said it should run just fine. It's tied up at the dock out front. Just get in it and go. Go anywhere. Just get away from the house.
I can't just take off in your boat. It's pitch black outside.
Then listen to me. Go around the house and lock all the doors and windows. Do that right now.
There aren't any locks on the doors and windows. What are you so afraid of?
The dogs. Those dogs. Out of nowhere. They're outside howling and snarling. Teeth and claws. Horrible.
Dogs? Hello? Did you say dogs? Hello? What is that? Something's out there.
Now look what you've done. That was a Strix Varia. At least I think it was. Never know for sure now, will I?
A Strix what?
Strix Varia. A barred owl. Real hard to spot. And it doesn't help that you're out here making more noise than a jumbo jet.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean any harm.
My name's Red Knot. And if you've got a volume knob, I'd appreciate your taking it down a notch before you scare away everything from here to Lancaster.
I'm Nancy Drew. What were all those noises out here just now?
That was me, Miss Nancy Drew, calling in birds. And doing a pretty good job of it, too, till you showed up. Where'd you come from, anyway?
I drove in today from River Heights to visit my friend Sally McDonald.
Now, why would you want to do a thing like that? The Malone house is no place for one young woman, let alone two.
You've met Sally?
I talked to her a couple of times. But you know, the last time I saw her, she wasn't doing so good. She acted real anxious, scared.
Did she say what was wrong?
The dogs. The dogs of Mickey Malone. Legend goes that when Malone was finally arrested and hauled away, His 4 dogs went running off into the woods and were never seen again. People would just hear 'em, howling like their hearts were broken every night until one by one, they all died and went silent. But every time someone tries living in the Malone house, back they come.
Are you saying Sally's house is haunted by ghost dogs?
Every night, ever since she moved in, you could hear 'em howling. And some nights the dogs would appear outside the house, running around, snarling and barking and throwing themselves at the doors and windows. And then they'd be gone. They're buried in the cemetery just beyond the house, you know. Them and Malone, both.
The dogs would attack her house?
It's like they don't want anybody but Malone living there. I guess they don't know he's dead. And so are they.
Did they ever attack Sally?
She never gave them the chance. After the first attack, she stopped going out at night. Just locked the doors when it got dark and sat tight until morning.
Why haven't the police investigated?
This isn't New York City, Miss Nancy Drew. All they got around here is one officious little park ranger. And all Jeff Akers does is sit around all day trying to figure out how he can get himself transferred out of here to a bigger park.
Do you live close by?
I just come to Moon Lake in the spring to look for birds. Got an observation platform just up the path, kind of my base camp, and I've got a little outboard down there on the lake. Left my car at the big dock up lake. Don't really need it.
Are those the ghost dogs?
Yes, ma'am. Which is why I think it would be a good idea if I went my merry way and you got yourself back inside that house. Good luck, Miss Nancy Drew.
This is not good.
Hello?
Hey, Sally, it's Nancy.
Nancy, did you see them? Did you see the dogs?
Yes, I did, and I can understand why you left. They were pretty frightening. But if it's okay with you, I'd really like to stay and get to the bottom of whatever's going on. That's why you asked me here in the first place, right?
Yes, but Nancy, are you sure?
Positive. Consider Detective Drew officially on the case.
I wish I were even half the trooper you are, Nancy. I have such high hopes for that house. All the beauty there, the wildlife, all the pictures I was going to take. It would break my heart to have to give it up.
I need you to tell me everything you can about those dogs.
They're black, and they have yellow glowing eyes, and they don't like me one bit.
When's the first time you saw them?
Well, let's see. I heard them the very first night I was here. I heard them almost every night, howling in the distance, but I didn't actually see them until I'd been here about a week. After that, they started appearing pretty much every other night.
When they appeared, did they always do the same thing?
Yes, come to think of it. They always came running up to the house, barking and snarling. They'd lunge at the windows, they'd jump up on the door, they'd run around and bark some more, then they'd run off. What are you getting at?
These attacks seem to involve a lot of choreography, which reinforces my theory that you're not being randomly attacked by a pack of wild dogs, but by dogs who've been trained by someone determined to scare you out of your house at Moon Lake.
Who would want to do that? My closest neighbor lives 2 miles away. My property is surrounded by the state park, but it's off-season, so hardly anybody is in the park. In fact, I bet I talked to a total of 3 people the whole 4 weeks I was at Moon Lake.
Which 3 people?
Let's see, the park ranger, I forget his name, kind of a pain in the neck. Emily Griffin, she's the one who owns that store I told you about. And I ran into this bird watcher a couple of times. Had a funny name.
Red Knot. I've run into him too.
Other than people I may have nodded hello to while getting gas or something, I swear those are the only people I've talked to at Moon Lake.
What about River Heights? Can you think of anyone there who'd want you to sell your house at Moon Lake and move back to River Heights?
You mean like an angry ex-boyfriend or something? Nope, I sure can't.
Since I'm going to be staying here a while, is there anything I should know about the place?
Well, let's see. I've got the water turned off because it's well water and it needs to be tested before I can use it for anything. In fact, if you could get that testing done for me, I'd really appreciate it. Oh, and watch where you walk in the living room. Some of the floorboards are so rotten you could fall right through. And I keep hearing these faint squeaks and rustling type noises coming from below the floor. I hope you're not scared of mice.
Who did you say I should call about getting rid of that tree?
Emily Griffin. She doesn't bother answering her phone sometimes, so don't call her. Go see her. Her store's on the west side of the lake. And brace yourself, M's Emporium is something else.
How well do you know her?
I feel like I've known her all my life. She's so open and friendly. She likes to make it sound as if Moon Lake used to be a major hangout for criminals and degenerates, which isn't really true and irks some people around here no end. But I figure she's just trying to make a buck.
How do I go about getting your water tested?
Try the ranger station on the east side of the lake. I've been told you can get some kind of kit there.
I'm curious. Why did you characterize the park ranger as a pain in the neck?
I left part of a ham sandwich on a picnic table once. Big mistake. From the way he carried on, you'd think I just made the FBI's 10 most wanted list. I don't think he likes me. Emily says it's because I wrecked his dream of becoming super ranger or something when I bought the Malone house instead of the parks department. Me, I think he just basically has a problem relating to people unless they're asking questions or breaking the law.
Talk to you later.
Keep me posted.
Leaves that appear on a fresh spring tree make my birth different from the other 3. When swans drift by on shimmering blue, I'm the one who plays in the summer dew. When autumn's call brings out the deer, it is I who howls on mornings clear. And when winter comes and birds take flight, look to me to sleep through the long gray night. It's stuck. I need some sandpaper. Looks like paw prints. The boat's full of water. plug is missing. This must be Red's observation platform. A face only a gnome could love. Oh, the key broke off. There's got to be another way to get this open. Those look too rotten. I better be careful. These look like dog tracks.
Hello?
Hey, Sally, it's Nancy.
Nancy, hi. How's it going?
Your outboard motorboat is missing a spark plug. Is there one around here by any chance?
I wouldn't know a spark plug if I swallowed one whole. But you need that boat, Nancy. Right now, it's your lifeline. You can't use your car, and believe me, you can't walk anywhere because all the paths around the house end in this thick, horrible brush. You've got to get it fixed. Wait a minute. The bird watcher, he's got a boat. Maybe you could borrow his spark plug or something. Go down the path that's to the right as you look out toward the lake from the house, and you'll eventually see his observation platform. Try him at night. He never seems to be around during the day.
Where'd all that stuff in your tool shed come from?
It's just junk left behind by previous owners. Came with the house. I've been meaning to take inventory and start pitching stuff, but I didn't. If they ever make procrastination a crime, I'm done for.
The wall hanging in the living room with a poem on it, and those dog carvings in that cabinet above the sofa. What can you tell me about them?
Aren't they cool? They came with the place. Sold the clock. Apparently, Malone had them custom made when he built the house. In fact, they're all built into the house. They're still there because you can't move them.
Has the clock ever worked?
Not for me. Oh, but get this. One day, I was messing with the hands, trying to get them to work, and all of a sudden, one of the 4 little doors flew open, and instead of a cuckoo, this dog popped out and barked 3 times. It's a doggy clock. That Malone, bad as he was, he sure loved those dogs.
Are you aware that you're the proud owner of your very own cemetery?
Yes. When the realtor told me there was a cemetery on the property, I went, ugh. But when I saw how far from the house it was and how small it was, I decided I could live with it, as it were.
So you didn't go out there much?
No.
Talk to you later.
Thanks again, Nancy.
The moon's so bright, I won't need my flashlight.
Well, it's Miss Nancy Drew.
Please, just call me Nancy.
I will if you keep your voice down. I just heard a cerulean warbler.
Really? Are they rare?
Something tells me they're gonna be with you around. You didn't come up here to chit-chat, did you?
Do you know much about outboard motors?
Sure do. Only type of motorized vehicle that's allowed on Moon Lake. Heck, if it were up to me, I'd ban them too. Have everybody get around by canoe. Nothing like the threat of physical activity to keep tourists away.
Why don't you like tourists?
I came to see birds, not people. The more people there are in a forest, the fewer birds there are. It's a fact of life. Reason I like to come here is because nobody else does. It's perfect. Not a decent grocery store, restaurant, or motel for miles.
There's no place nearby that sells boat parts? Sally's outboard is missing a spark plug.
I might be able to help you out. After all, I was a Boy Scout. Be prepared.
You mean you have a spark plug I could buy?
Well, just so happens I've got 2 spark plugs right here in my pocket. Question is, if I give you one, what do I get for it? I don't need cash, but maybe you could take a few pictures for me. Know how to use a digital camera?
Sure. What would you like me to take pictures of?
Birds, of course. There's a couple of birds I'm supposed to take pictures of for PEPSOB. That's People for the Preservation and Study of Birds. You can recognize them by their songs, which are on this tape, which you can play on my cassette player, which you're gonna have to get from M's Emporium as soon as you get your boat fixed. Think you can handle that?
I know I can.
Here's everything you'll need. M's Emporium is up lake on the west side. Not that I'm trying to get you out of my hair or anything, but try not to come pestering me till you're done, okay? One more thing. You smoke?
Cigarettes? No.
These woods may not look it, but they're tinder dry. One lit match, and the best bird habitat on the East Coast will go up in smoke. So watch what you do, because if anything like that happens, I won't be looking for birds anymore, I'll be looking for you. Watch yourself out there.
Ew!
Hey there! Welcome to M's Emporium. I'm Emily Griffin.
My name's Nancy Drew. I'm staying out at the old Malone place. You know, the house Sally McDonald bought?
Now, what's she doing inviting guests out to that old dump?
She's got a little problem she's hoping I can solve. But right now, I need a chainsaw.
A chainsaw?
A tree fell down in the driveway behind my car, and now I'm blocked in.
I'll get Tucker Davis to take care of it. Gotta warn you, though. Tucker tends to do things in his own sweet time. So how come Sally ain't with you?
The ghost dog scared her off.
I told her. I said, Sally, that old house is gonna be nothing but trouble. And sure enough, Malone's hounds have come back. Just when we all thought they were finally resting in peace.
Have you ever seen the dogs?
Nope. Don't want to, neither. Just hearing 'em howl's bad enough. Scares the bejeebies out of me.
When was the last time they appeared?
Seems like they show up every time somebody buys the place. So the last time would have been 10, 15 years ago.
I caught a strange man prowling around last night. He called himself Red Knot.
The bird watcher. Comes in every so often to stock up on that weirdo food he eats. You know how them tree hugger types are.
It seemed to me that he was more into watching birds than hugging trees.
Yeah, well, whatever. One thing's for sure, he's gonna wind up with a dose of buckshot in his hind end if he keeps tramping through people's yards making noises like he just popped out of a UFO.
Mr. Knott did me a favor, and in return he asked me to pick up a cassette player from you.
Oh yeah, I got it right here. Thought maybe the old coot had forgotten he left it here. What else can I do you for?
I need to get the water from Sally's well tested. How would I go about doing that, do you know?
Just get a water testing kit from the ranger station and follow the directions.
Where's the ranger station?
Just up lake from Sally's on the east side.
Why would there be a problem with the water?
'Cause it's well water. And seeing as Malone dug that well 80 years ago, what gets pumped out of it could be pretty funky.
These so-called ghost dogs left very real paw prints. I saw some near the cemetery that's by the Malone house. Have you ever been there?
Can't say as I have. Poking around cemeteries ain't exactly a hobby with me.
Does the name Waldo Matthias mean anything to you?
Can't say as it does.
Where do you find your... Achoo!
Bless you. It's all the dust. Sometimes I think it grows on this stuff.
Some of those old bottles are beautiful. Where'd you get them?
Found 'em. See, back in the days of Prohibition, that old Malone place used to be party central. Only way to get to and from back then was by boat. And when those boats dumped, on account of bad weather or bad driving or the feds suddenly showing up, well, everything from diamond necklaces to full bottles of illegal booze sank to the bottom of the lake.
So it's finders keepers, huh?
That's right. See, recovering objects from the lake bed is illegal. According to Squeaky Wheel Acres, dragging the lake for artifacts was upsetting its delicate eco-balance. So thanks mostly to his constant squawking, the state banned it.
Squeaky Wheel Acres?
Jeff Akers, local park ranger. I keep telling him all this stuff washed up on shore. But does that snobby little stickler for rules believe me?
Sounds like you aren't real fond of Ranger Akers.
Jeff Akers could take all his precious rules and regulations and take a flying leap. Now, I got nothing against getting more customers in here, mind you. But I kind of like Moon Lake the way it is. Small, quiet, out of the way. But Jeff Akers, why, there's nothing he'd like better than to see all the lake and all the property around it turned into one big, noisy, jam-packed state park.
Why would he want that?
He's the type of guy who likes to boss people around, makes them feel important. So if the park got way bigger and was crawling with tourists, why, instead of giving out maybe one ticket for littering every 2 days, he'd be giving out 12 tickets every 2 hours. He'd be in heaven. Well, hey, I'm sure you got better things to do than getting your ear chewed off by yours truly.
I need to buy something.
You want it? I got it. Long as you pay cash, that is.
That's just it. I'm running kind of low on cash. Would it be possible to start a line of credit?
My daddy always said, neither a borrower nor a lender be. But I'll tell you what, seeing as how you're a friend of Sally's and seeing as how I got some things around here that could use doing, I guess we could work something out. What is it you need?
Do you sell sandpaper by any chance?
I do, but Mr. Birdbrain was in last week and cleaned me out. Said he was tired of that observation platform of his giving him splinters in his hinter regions.
Think I could get some from him?
He's your only hope. But you better ask him for it quick. That deck of his is pretty big, and those squares I sold him are pretty small.
Guess I'll see you later.
You betcha.
American goldfinch. Northern cardinal. Red-tailed hawk. Western tanager. American goldfinch. American robin. Blue jay. Northern cardinal. Red-tailed hawk. Western tanager.
Hello, can I help you?
Hi, my name's Nancy Drew. I'm visiting Sally McDonald. Are you the park ranger?
Park Ranger Jeff Akers, at your service. Let's see, Sally McDonald is the woman who bought the old Malone place.
That's right, only she's gone back to Philadelphia. Malone's dogs got to her.
Don't tell me she believes all that ghost dog stuff.
I saw them myself.
Whatever's out there, I'm sure they're no more and no less than exactly what they look and sound like. Dogs. Living, breathing, very noisy dogs.
Why do you think dogs would attack Sally's house?
Dogs can be trained to do almost anything.
Any idea what would make a dog's eyes glow yellow?
Something in their diet, maybe? Some oddball vitamin or protein.
As a park ranger, don't you want to know for sure what's behind these dog attacks?
Do you always ask this many questions?
Sorry, it's my nature. But would it be okay if I asked a few more?
I'm a very busy man, Miss Drew, but I am here to serve the public.
Do you have something I could use to test the well water at Sally's?
Sure do. Simple to use, too. Just pump some water into this vial, return the sample to me, I'll send it off, and in a day or two you'll find out whether or not your water's fit to drink.
Does everyone out here have a well?
Everyone who doesn't want to die of thirst does. Hooking up to a municipal water supply is out of the question. Too expensive.
This place isn't exactly your ordinary ranger station, is it?
It's also the Moon Lake Post Office, and it's the unofficial Moon Lake Museum of Factual and Natural History. I've lived here all my life, so I can't help but feel obligated to protect not only the area's flora and fauna, but also its past.
Which is apparently rather colorful.
As a member of the law enforcement community, I prefer to dwell on the positive aspects of history instead of on the activities of a bunch of glorified thugs.
So you'd probably like to see the old Malone place torn down and forgotten.
Not necessarily. It's hard to ignore its potential as a tourist attraction. And if that's what it takes to draw more people to Moon Lake, I'm a reasonable man.
As an officer of the law, can you think of anyone who might want to scare Sally off her property?
The woman who owns the shop across the lake? Emily Griffin? I can't prove it, but I'm pretty sure she's been dragging the lake in front of Malone's house for artifacts, which is illegal. It would be a lot easier for her to do her dirty work if nobody was living there.
What do you know about the cemetery behind the Malone house?
People are buried there. Beyond that, what's to know?
Are Malone's dogs buried there?
That's the rumor.
The inscription on one of the tombstones reads Waldo Matthias. Does that name ring any bells?
Not in my steeple.
Would it be okay if I looked around?
Please do. And if you have any questions, any more questions, just ask.
Would you mind mailing this letter for me?
Not at all.
Thanks for all your help.
Always a pleasure. Oh, and one last thing. The deer mouse population has boomed this year, so please take precautions if you're cleaning out any area where they may have nested. They can carry some nasty diseases.
Thanks for the tip, Ranger Akers. I probably shouldn't mess around with this without Ranger Akers' permission. No birds here. No birds here. I must have scared it. I must have scared it.
You're back.
I have that water sample. What do I do with it?
Just give it to me, and I'll take care of it.
Thanks for all your help.
That's why I'm here.
You find all the birds?
I found some birds, but no matter how quiet I am, I've been scaring other birds away before I can take their picture. What am I doing wrong?
You're wearing those clothes. That's what you're doing wrong. You need to blend in, like me. Go back over to M's tacky tourist trap and get yourself some camouflage gear. Only sensible thing that money grubber carries.
I'm sorry to keep bugging you, but I need some sandpaper. Emily said you might have some.
Here, take it and scram. I was just about to call in a meadowlark. That was always Ruth's favorite.
Was Ruth your wife?
Good heavens, no. My wife had no patience for birding. Ruth was my dog. Border collie. She'd hear a meadowlark, and by golly, her ears would perk, and she'd cock her head, and she'd just come as close to smiling as ever a dog could.
Do many people around here own dogs?
Not really. Most people don't bother. The place is surrounded by park land, and Ranger Acres just loves enforcing the leash laws. There it is again. Take your sandpaper and go sand something, okay?
It's stuck. It could be mice making that sound. William Akers? I wonder if he's related to Jeff Akers.
Howdy, Nancy.
Any word from Tucker, what's his name? He hasn't been by to move that tree yet.
I'll give him another call. But like I said, the man marches to the beat of another drummer. A very slow drummer.
To make a long story short, I need some camouflage gear.
Got some right over here. One size fits all. But I'm running kind of low on bait. So if you go out and get me, say a dozen little critters, I'll give you the camos.
A dozen little critters?
Worms, spiders, beetles, grubs. Anything that wriggles on its belly'll do. Just look under stuff. Rocks, logs, dead leaves. Should be able to find 12 in no time.
Do I need some kind of permit?
Things ain't quite that bad around here. Least not yet. Now, if Jeff Akers' daddy was still around, you might get arrested for cruelty to animals or some such nonsense. Joe Akers used to be the deputy sheriff. Real critter lover, that one was.
Joe Akers is Jeff's father?
That's right.
I found an old newspaper in Sally's house that contained an article on Mickey Malone. It really got my curiosity going. What else can you tell me about him?
Person you should talk to is Jeff Akers. He's got this historical museum thing going out at that ranger station of his.
I found this picture in Sally's house. Do you recognize anybody?
I'm guessing the guy's Mickey Malone, but I don't know who's that lady. Sounds like a case for our resident know-it-all Ranger Akers.
Guess I'll see you later.
Always a pleasure.
You're back.
I noticed you have a dog.
That's Yogi, who never goes out unless he's on a leash. Park rules.
Do you have any other dogs?
I hope you're not suggesting I trained Yogi to run around in the middle of the night barking and attacking houses.
I found a newspaper dating back to 1927 in Sally's house. Since you're kind of an expert on the history of Moon Lake, do you mind if I ask you some questions about Mickey Malone?
Not at all.
The article mentioned that a man named William Akers used to work for Malone. Is he a relative of yours?
No. Quite a coincidence, I'll admit, but no. I am in no way related to the head flunky of some two-bit gangster and his gang of thugs.
I found this old picture in Sally's house. Do you know who these people are?
The man is Mickey Malone, I know that. I'm guessing that this is his girlfriend, Vivian Burnett, I think her name was. And judging by the year of that brand new Ford in the background, I'd say the picture was taken in 1928.
She was probably as familiar with Malone's house and his dogs as he was. Think there's any chance she's still alive?
Tell you what, Miss Drew. Why don't I go through my files and see what I can dig up on this mystery woman? I'm a busy man, but like I always say, I'm here to serve.
When and why was Malone arrested?
I'm sorry, Miss Drew. As usual, I'm a little pressed for time. If you have more questions, why don't you sit down at the computer and peruse the Moon Lake database of fascinating factoids that I've put together?
What happened to Akers and the rest of Malone's gang after he went to prison?
Fortunately for Moon Lake, they all left and went their separate ways.
Have you gotten the results back from that water sample I left with you?
I meant to call the Department of Health today for a status report, but frankly, I've been way too busy.
Sounds like Moon Lake could use 2 rangers.
If I were in charge of just 10 more acres of parkland, they'd give me an assistant, and I could devote more time to the acquisition of more land and eventually put Moon Lake on the map as one of the biggest, most popular parks in the state.
Why didn't the Parks Department buy the Malone property instead of Sally?
She outbid them, the cheapskates.
Well, if those dogs scare Sally away for good, other people are bound to think twice about buying the place. The bank will lower its price, and you'll have your land.
You're insinuating things again, Miss Drew.
I'm sorry, I really am. It's just that Sally's my friend, and I'd really like to find out why someone's doing this to her.
Tell you what, if you're serious about making amends, there's some boxes by the computer labeled with dates. They're from the estate of a local history buff. She kept everything from newspaper clippings to old photos to recipes for apple crisp. She put everything in envelopes, then numbered them by year using Roman numerals. Just put the envelopes in order by year with the earliest date in front. Oh, and if you're rusty on Roman numerals, there's an entry on them in the computer.
Okay if I read what's in the envelopes?
Don't go reading anything until you're through, or take my word for it, you'll never get finished.
I've been trying to take pictures of birds for this guy named Red Knot. Ever met him?
Oh yes, the Birdman. I'd stay away from him if I were you.
Why? Is something wrong with him?
He's a fanatic. He's got it in his head that Moon Lake would be the best birdwatching venue in the world except for one thing: too many people. Believe me, if there was a way to get this park shut down and all the homes on the lake torn down, he'd do it in an instant.
Thanks for all your help.
Always a pleasure.
Tweet, tweet!
Hey, Nancy, how's the bait finding coming along?
Got 'em right here.
Well, now, you done all right for a city gal. Here you go. Hope whatever you're hiding from won't catch you. How you holding up?
Guess I'll see you later.
Keep on trucking.
Good news. I have information on your mystery woman.
Thank you so much. Is she still alive?
Her name these days is Vivian Whitmore. She lives in Las Vegas, and her number is 702-555-9137.
Sorry to bother you again, but did those results from the water test come in yet?
There's something here for you from the State Department of Health.
Oh my gosh, not only is the water bad, but it seems like the well may have been contaminated deliberately.
I wouldn't go jumping to conclusions without proof, Ms. Drew. I'm sure there's a far less melodramatic explanation.
Where's Yogi?
In the run out back. Even out of sight, he's under my full control, as park rules require.
Thanks for all your help.
Always a pleasure.
Let's see. Jeff said the envelope with the earliest date goes down in the front of each box. Now that they're all sorted, I can do some reading.
Hello there.
I finished putting all those envelopes in order.
Excellent. Thank you, Miss Drew. And to show my gratitude, I've got something for you.
Chances are it isn't a paycheck.
No, it's an honorary Junior Park Ranger pin. I keep them on hand so I can give them out to children whom I see demonstrating respect for park rules and regulations. A little bit of positive reinforcement. Unfortunately, I don't get to give them out that often.
Oh, gee, thanks, Ranger Akers. Thanks for all your help.
Always a pleasure.
If you're selling something, hang up right now. I got an air horn in my hand that could deafen a dinosaur, and I'm not afraid to use it.
Oh, no, please. I'm not selling anything. Believe me. Is this Vivian Whitmore?
Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. You got exactly 5 seconds to state your business.
My name is Nancy Drew. I'm calling from Moon Lake, Pennsylvania. I just wanted to ask you some questions.
Oh, right. The Moon Lake Park Ranger said you might call. But you have to talk fast. An old friend of mine is flying in today from Florida. And when I say old, I mean old, as in 5 years older than I am. Don't bother trying to do the math, sweet stuff. You'll hurt yourself. So, that ranger fella said you found an old picture of me.
It was of you and Mickey Malone. Do you remember him?
Of course I remember him. I remember everything about that time of my life. It was the roaring 20s, for crying out loud. One of the most exciting decades in American history. Just because I've got a few years on most people doesn't mean my brain's turned to tapioca, sweet stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you.
Mickey and I dated for 5 years. Oh, I knew what he was, and I didn't approve, believe you me. But I was young, and we got along so well, and he was so considerate. He always kept birch beer on tap at that speakeasy of his just for me.
He had a speakeasy? Where?
It was in the basement, right there at Moon Lake. Feds never knew about it, but everybody who was anybody on the East Coast back then, actors, musicians, bankers, politicians, they knew. You weren't big time unless you'd made at least one trip to Moon Lake Mickey's.
That's weird. I'm staying in his old house on Moon Lake, and I haven't seen any sign of a speakeasy.
Course you haven't. You're not supposed to. Only Mickey and Willie knew how to get into the speakeasy from the house. The rest of us had to go in and out the regular way, through the cemetery.
The cemetery?
There was a lock hidden in one of the tombstones in that little cemetery behind the house. You needed a key to unlock it, and when you did, stairs would appear that led to the speakeasy.
Do you have any idea how to get into Malone's speakeasy from the house?
I sure don't. That saloon was built using two main ingredients, concrete and secrecy. Mickey always bragged that nobody could get in unless he wanted them in, and I do believe he was right. But I'll tell you what, if you send me that picture of me and Mickey, I'll send you my key.
The key to the tombstone? You still have it?
It's in the bottom of my jewelry box. I've come this close to throwing it out 100 times, but it's so small and the memories it brings back are so big. Well, I just couldn't. As a joke, Mickey had a tombstone made with the name of this federal agent who had it out for him inscribed on it. That's the one the key unlocks.
Do you know anything about the safe that's in the cellar of his house at Moon Lake?
You must be talking about the wall safe. That was Willie's. By Willie, I mean William Akers, one of the guys who worked for Mickey.
I don't suppose you happen to know the combination.
No one knew the combination, not even Mickey. Mostly because Willie was constantly changing it. He was a little paranoid and superstitious. Well, as I recall, he picked the most unlucky number he could think of and used that for the combination. He called it a reverse jinx.
Unlucky number? Like what?
Oh, like the date that something bad happened, like when the stock market crashed, or when somebody died, or the address of a house that caught fire, or the phone number of the police, that sort of thing.
It's been fun talking to you.
I'll be suing you.
It looks like a tiny hole. What's the combination? I bet those were deer mice. Speakeasy. Joe Akers? Emily said Jeff Akers' father was named Joe. Maybe Jeff is related to William Akers after all. The dogs will lead the way. I wonder what that means.
Hello again, Miss Drew. Am I in for another interrogation?
I'd like to mail this photo to the woman in Las Vegas. Can you do that for me?
As always, I'm here to serve, Miss Drew. Just give it to me and I'll take care of it. I'm sure she'll be very pleased to get this back.
Thanks for all your help.
Always a pleasure.
How's the bird watching coming along?
I just can't seem to find a red-tailed hawk. Any suggestions?
Well, there's gotta be lots around here. You haven't been going around wearing sunglasses and earmuffs, have you?
No, Red, I haven't.
Well, according to my bird map, they like to nest in the big tree that's just to the southwest of the Malone house. I suggest you park yourself nearby and wait. Bound to spot one sooner or later.
See you in a while.
Just remember, eyes open, mouth shut.
Hello?
Hey, Sally, it's Nancy.
Nancy, hi. How's it going?
I'm afraid I have some bad news. I had your well water tested, and according to the health department, it contains a very high level of arsenic.
Arsenic? Somebody poisoned my well?
Maybe, maybe not. The health department is running more tests. When you bought the house, did anyone mention a problem with the well?
No. And it doesn't matter. I love that house, and I am going to live in it. If that well's bad, I'll just dig another one. At least I will when I know for sure why bad things keep happening there. You are going to figure that out, right, Nancy?
You bet I am.
I knew I could count on you.
In the paperwork that you had to wade through when you bought this property, do you recall ever coming across the name Vivian Whitmore?
No, I sure don't. Who's she?
A close friend of Mickey Malone's, or so it would seem.
Her name wasn't anywhere on the deed. I know that.
Talk to you later.
Thanks again, Nancy.
Nice Junior Park Ranger pen. You must really be on Acres' good side.
Do you know anything about the gold that Mickey Malone supposedly buried somewhere on his property?
All I got to say about it is, if there really was a bunch of gold buried somewhere and nobody ever found it, it's for darn sure nobody ever will. Not with them dogs up there.
Guess I'll see you later.
Always a pleasure.
Hello again, Miss Drew.
What do you know about a man named Joe Akers?
Why do you ask?
I understand he used to be the deputy here.
So?
According to Emily Griffin, Deputy Joe Akers was your father, and according to the journal I found, William Akers' son was named Joe. Another coincidence?
All right. William Akers was my grandfather.
Why didn't you tell me that before?
It's not exactly something I'm proud of. My father spent his whole life trying to make people forget what my grandfather was, and trying to make sure people who didn't know what he was never found out. I've been doing the same thing.
What did William Akers do after Malone was arrested?
I'm afraid you're going to have to excuse me, Miss Drew. In case you've forgotten, I'm a very busy man.
Well, I don't see any hawks, but this is probably the tree Red was talking about. At least it was the tree. That sounded like a hawk. Hey, what is that hawk standing on? Oh, that looks like a speaker. Huh? I better get out of here. My arms and legs are tied. I can't move. At least I can kick. If I could just get that scythe down, I could use the blade to cut the rope around my wrists and free my hands. I can't just let this thing burn up. I've got to put it out.
What in blazes happened? I saw the fire from my platform and came running. You weren't in there playing with matches, were you?
I was looking at birds, and then I noticed something on the house, and the next thing I knew, I was locked in the tool shed and somebody was setting it on fire.
Whoa, you're not making much sense. Probably smoke inhalation or something. Come talk to me after you've cleaned yourself up and gotten some sleep. I need to tell you something.
Somebody tried to kill you?
I didn't say that.
Somebody knocked you out, locked you in a shed, set it on fire, and you think they were, what, just pulling a prank? Wake up and smell the hostile vibes, Nancy.
I guess it's just hard for me to believe that anybody would consider me to be that big a threat.
I should have never let you stay there by yourself.
Sally, I'm fine. I feel bad about your tool shed, though.
Who cares about the shed? It was full of junk anyway. I'm glad to be rid of it.
That's kind of the way Ranger Akers saw it, too. He showed up right after the birdwatcher did and ticketed me for burning refuse in a manner that endangered park property.
That man is insufferable.
Emily was nice, though. She came by right afterwards and wouldn't leave until I drank the tea she made for me.
Look, Nancy, one more time. If you want to leave, just say the word and I'll come get you.
Sally, one more time. I'm fine.
Well, then promise me you'll be careful, okay?
I promise. I'll be in touch.
You better.
I apologize for my previous behavior. As a park ranger, I strive to keep my personal feelings in check at all times, and that time I failed. It's my duty as a public servant to try to make it up to you. What would you like to know?
What can you tell me about the gold that Malone supposedly buried on his property?
As far as I know, it doesn't exist. It's just one of those rumors people want to believe, so they do.
Thanks for all your help.
Always a pleasure. A package just arrived for you from Las Vegas.
great. Vivian sent me the key.
I'll dispose of the package. Wouldn't want to break any littering laws, would we?
Did your grandfather ever find any gold on Malone's property?
If he did, he never spent it. He wasn't poor when he died, but he certainly wasn't rich.
Thanks for all your help.
That's why I'm here.
Hello?
Is this Vivian?
No, this is your station drop-off. Vivian's fixing snacks in the kitchen.
Oh my gosh, Eustacia Andropov? Harry Houdini's cousin?
Use the air horn like I showed you.
No, Eustacia, wait. It's Nancy Drew. I talked to you on the phone a couple of months ago, just after a friend of mine was kidnapped in St. Louis. I asked you questions about the theater where the kidnapping took place, the Royal Palladium, remember?
Nancy Drew, the Snoopy one. You're not dead yet?
No.
Most people, I talk to them one day, next day they're dead. It is an old age thing.
Oh, stop being so morbid here. Have some clam dip. Hello? Nancy? So you know Eustacia, huh? Small world. Well, what's up?
William Akers, the guy you call Willie. He wrote about looking for the gold that Malone had supposedly buried on his property at Moon Lake. Do you know anything about that?
The hole in the floor gold heist. Well, I'll be darned.
So it's true? He did bury gold on his property?
Truth be told, when Mickey told me he was the one who pulled off that heist and that he'd buried 20 gold bars at Moon Lake, I didn't believe him. I thought he was making it up. See, Mickey and I were on the outs by then. I thought he was just trying to entice me to come back. But if he told Willie the same thing, maybe there's something to the story after all.
Do you have any idea where he might have hidden it?
Afraid not. Mickey was so secretive that the men who completed his house at Moon Lake were not only forbidden to talk about the work they'd done, but they were ordered to leave the state for good, or else. But you know, I think he mentioned a map. Yes. He said he was making a treasure map and that... The dogs. Something about those dogs of his.
The dogs will lead the way?
He was always saying that. In fact, I'm pretty sure he had it engraved on his tombstone. Think, Viv, think. He said he was making a treasure map and that he was also having paintings done of each dog. He made it sound like one thing had something to do with the other, like he was giving me some big important clue. But I just figured he was playing games, trying to lure me back with mystery and intrigue. I told him to buzz off. Maybe I shouldn't have.
Did he say what he was going to do with the paintings?
He said he was going to hang them in the speakeasy, and I'm sure that's precisely what he did.
Can you remember anything about Malone's dogs that might suggest where he hid the gold?
I stayed away from his dogs. They made me nervous, always jumping around, barking at this or that. The only one I liked was, what was his name? Iggy! I liked Iggy because he was nice and quiet. He just lay on the porch all day and didn't make a peep.
I got the key you sent me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. There's just one thing. It doesn't seem to work.
Oh, where is my brain? The key unlocks the letters of the inscription. Just dial in the password and you'll be set.
There's just one more thing.
You don't know the password. I'm sorry. Eustacia and I've been playing canasta all day, and I guess beating her all those times took more out of my brain than I thought.
Next game, I win. Next game, loser pays for pizza.
Well, get out your wallet, sister, because you're going down. So, where were we? Oh, yeah, the password. Let's see. It was the name of that federal agent, his first name.
Waldo?
No, not his real first name. What Mickey was always calling him. Baldo. That was it, Baldo. I always thought it was mean to call him that, especially since Mickey was starting to get a little sparse on top himself.
So I just turn the letters until they spell Baldo?
Yes, dear, but like almost everything else in life, it's trickier than it sounds.
Are there any other tricks to getting into the speakeasy that I should know about?
I suppose it's only fair to warn you about the tunnels, and the doors, and the dead ends.
Tunnels? You mean there's more than one way to get to the speakeasy from the cemetery?
Mickey had his men dig a bunch of tunnels between the speakeasy and the cemetery with hidden doors that opened when other doors closed, and lots of dead ends, so that if the speakeasy was ever raided, his guests could hide from the police. I was always terrified of getting lost, but you're a plucky girl. I'm sure you'll be fine.
It's been fun talking to you.
I know.
It's too dark. I need a flashlight. More dog tracks. Oh, the batteries are going dead. I can't see a thing. I'd better go back.
How you holding up?
I need flashlight batteries. Do you carry them?
Yep. But you know, I've been meaning to make a purty display out of them packs of combo coal over there for the longest time. Just can't seem to get around to it.
In other words, you'd like me to give it a shot.
Here's the way it should look when you're done.
Ta-da! One smiling goldfish. It's obviously never tried Combo Cola.
Hey, Nancy, this mean you got them cans stacked?
You bet. They look just like the picture you gave me, which you can have back.
Here's your batteries, and thanks, Nancy.
It's silly to try to explore this in the dark. Uh-oh. So this is the speakeasy. Wow.
Hello there. I owe you an apology. After you came up here looking for those red tails, I gave my map a closer look and realized it was more than 50 years old. Reason you can't find them is probably because their favorite nesting tree is gone. Finding that hawk's gonna be harder than I thought, so why don't you just give me back my camera and I'll take it from here? It didn't get burned up in that fire or anything, did it?
Somebody clobbers me over the head and then tries to barbecue me, and all you're worried about is your camera?
It's a very expensive camera.
I never noticed those gas cans before.
I ran out of gas. So much for being prepared, huh? Well, that's all I wanted to tell you. I'm sure you've got places to go, things to see, people to pester.
Mickey Malone supposedly buried a bunch of stolen gold bars on his property way back in the 20s. Did you know that?
Really? That's interesting. I don't much care, but it's interesting.
So you don't know anything about it?
Nope.
You'll be happy to know that I did get a picture of a red-tailed hawk. So here's your camera back. I got all the birds.
Thank you, Nancy. Nice work. You're a credit to your generation.
See you in a while.
Just remember, eyes open, mouth shut.
I'd better wait until daylight. So Lucy would swim out to the shipwreck, which is about here. Aw, he's so cute. If map is correct, the tree where Vitus would bark at the hawks used to be right about here. Those must be the spigots William Akers mentioned in his journal. It's too dark. Xander played by the pump, which is right here. That doesn't sound good. So you're the ghost dogs. You look pretty real to me. Who's a good boy? Who's a good puppy? These dogs have been trained to act vicious on command. That's the speaker I saw in the house. I bet the dogs attacked Sally's house because a high-frequency signal was transmitted to them through the speaker I saw on the roof. You've been trained to respond to a silent signal from this thing, haven't you? The wheel is gone. It's blocked. Something's missing here. It's locked. It's locked. I'd better make sure this door is closed all the way before I fool around with anything else. I'm this close to finding the gold, I just know it. £600 of gold bullion. Wow.
Hey there, Nancy. Why, what on earth have we got here? There's plenty of gold here. We can share. Let me out of here, Nancy! Nancy, wait. Let's talk about this. This can just be our little secret. You scratch my back, I scratch yours, remember? Nancy?
The gold's all yours, Em. Enjoy it while you can. Dear Ned, as soon as I got out of the tunnels, Emily had left a door open. I called the sheriff. But when I led him back down the well to the room where I'd left Emily, she refused to leave. He and his deputies finally got her out, but one of them said afterward that if he had to choose between getting a bear away from her cub and getting Emily away from that gold, he'd pick the bear. What's worse, by the time they took Emily away, the place was swarming with reporters from all over the country. The commotion has scared away every bird for miles. I'm pretty sure Red Knot would like to strangle me. On the other hand, when Ranger Akers found out that 7 cars and 2 helicopters were illegally parked on park property and that he was going to get to ticket them, he was ecstatic. Tucker Davis finally cleared away that dead tree, which means I'm free to drive home. Moon Lake is beautiful, but I've had enough wildlife for now. Which reminds me, did I mention that those 4 ghost dogs are actually very sweet? They're so sweet, in fact, that Sally is seriously thinking about adopting them. How's that for irony? Ever yours, Nancy. Bess, hi, it's Nancy. I'm at this little amusement park on the coast. I wish I could say I was having a wonderful time, but the fact is, some pretty spooky things have been happening here. There've been some strange accidents, and the carousel, it starts up in the dead of night all by itself like it's haunted or something. You know me, I don't get scared very easily, but I saw it myself, and I'll call you later. I've gotta go right now.